Hi everyone, my name is Mary and welcome back to Monique. So today in this video we're going to work on what I call the Tranquil Cardigan. This is what I'm making for my sister. And I had to pretty much get up from my desk and show it to you in the full spectrum because this is a large cardigan. And there you go. So you can see that both of the sleeves are different colors. So you have white and you have brown on that side. So the brown is going to be on the left and the white one is going to be on the right. And you also have a two-tone hood color. So you have white and blue. And I will show you how to make both of those. And then you also have these large buttons at the top right here. So that way if you didn't want a bunch of buttons, you didn't have to have them. And then of course the cardigan does open up, so there we go. Okay, and you do have this very beautiful two-tone color pattern for your pockets right here, and I will show you how to make these. Now this is going to be a little bit longer video, maybe about an hour and a half to 2 hours, but I will show you how to make the Tranquil cardigan, and it is in the size extra large, so this is going to be a very big cardigan. If you do not want a big cardigan like this, use a smaller hook. I'm going to be using a 6mm crochet hook with this one. Smaller hooks will make a smaller cardigan, and then you can also, to change it as well, do less stitches. So on this one right here, I believe I did about 45 stitches across. You can do less stitches, like maybe 30 or 20, to accommodate for a smaller cardigan. Alrighty, so let's get into this video. Again, this is called the Tranquil Cardigan. I hope you enjoy it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more tutorials such as this one and others I will do in the future. Okay, so let's get on into it. Alrighty, so the tools that you're going to need for the Tranquil cardigan is going to be a 6mm crochet hook. You can go down a size if you want it smaller. If you want it bigger, go up a size. You're also going to need a yarn needle with a large eye hole so you can sew in all your strings. We can sew our hood, our pockets, everything. You're also going to need a pair of scissors and 2 large buttons. Now you don't have to use any buttons on the cardigan. This was a request from my sister. I've known her for 31 years and she wanted 2 buttons. So I'm going to put those on her cardigan. They're going to go at the top so she can just close her cardigan. Now the yarn. This is going to be your teal yarn. It's by Mainstays. It's 100% acrylic. There is the color teal. This one is going to be 397 yards and 7 ounces. I used 5 balls or 5 skeins of the teal. I also bought, this is a lighter brown color. This is by Red Heart, and I believe it's called Cafe, not coffee. The coffee is a darker brown, and I only used a half a skein of this one. I actually bought a large ball like this one, but instead of Mainstays, it was Red Heart. And then of course I only used 1 skein of the white by Mainstays. And this one is 798 yards, 14 ounces, and this is also in the color white. Okay, so I only used 1 skein of the white. If you do go and use the smaller skeins like this one is 397 yards and 7 ounces. You will be using up to 5 of the white smaller ones. Okay, so now that we have the tools and everything, let's get started. Alright, good morning everyone. In order to start the Tranquil cardigan, We're going to start with a slip knot, so wrap your yarn around your fingers like this, making a loop. Put your yarn behind that loop like this. Go in and pull tight, making a loop. And now what you're going to do is you're going to you're going to do a foundation single crochet of 40. So you're going to yarn over and pull through. So you make 2 chains, 1, yarn over and pull through, 2. You're going to go back into that first chain that you made, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through that first loop to make a chain, yarn over and pull through both loops to make a single crochet. You're always working on the bottom of your loop, the bottom of your work. So make sure your yarn tail is always up. Go back under those 2 bars that you just made, which would be your chain, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through that first loop to make a chain, yarn over and pull through both loops to make a single crochet. We're going to make 40 of these. We're starting with the 2 front pieces, and then once we're done with the front pieces, we'll start with the back. Alrighty, when you have 40 foundation single crochets, okay, it should measure about 15.5 inches. I'm going to be making a medium to large cardigan. This one is for my sister. So now what you're going to do is you're going to flip your work upwards, and now you're going to chain 1. And into that very first stitch, we're going to put a double crochet. You're going to yarn over, go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. You're going to put 1 double crochet into every single stitch all the way across. So 1 double crochet into every single stitch until you have 40 double crochets. Okay, so when you have made 40 double crochets, this will be my 40th. Okay, 40 double crochets. Now you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and you're going to make another double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. You're going to double crochet and make 1 double crochet into each of the next 40 stitches. And you're going to repeat this for 3 more rows. So we're on row number 2, and then for row number 3 and 4 you'll do it for that one as well. I will be back when I have 4 rows of double crochet. Okay. Alrighty, I'm at the end of row number 2. I just have 1 more double crochet to put into the very last stitch. And then you'll repeat this for 2 more rows. So you'll just chain 1, turn your work, and put 1 double crochet right into that very first stitch, and 1 double crochet into each of the next 40 stitches. Do that for rows 3 and 4, and I will meet you back once I have 4 rows. Okay, when you have reached your 4th row, I'm going to put 1 more double crochet right into this very last stitch, and we're going to start row number 5. Now this is going to be an 8-row repeat, so you're going to repeat rows 1 through 4 and then 5 through 8. Okay, so what you're going to do for row number 5 is you're going to chain 1, turn your work, and this one is going to be a little bit different. You're going to put 1 single crochet right into that very first stitch. So put your hook into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops to make a single crochet. Into the next stitch you're going to put a double crochet. Into the next stitch you're going to put a single crochet, and you're going to do this all the way across 40 stitches. 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet. Now for this type of row, I would suggest getting a row counter. These things are really nice. So it starts at 0, and every time you do a row, you press 1, 2, 3, 4. That way it tells you how many rows you've done. Click it every time you are done with a row. You press this restart button, you'll go back to 0. That will help you with rows 5 through 8. So 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 single crochet, 1 double crochet. And you'll do this all the way across the row. It's a really pretty stitch. We're going to do this for 4 rows. I will meet you at the other end. I reached the other end. I've just put 1 single crochet into the stitch before the end, and now I'm putting 1 double crochet into the very last stitch. So since I did 40 rows, 40 stitches, what ended up happening was, since we started with a single crochet, we actually ended on a double crochet. Now this is how this stitch is going to work for row number 2. You're going to chain 1, turn your work, okay, and on the top of that double crochet you're going to put a single crochet. On the top of that single crochet you're going to put a double crochet. Single crochet on top of the double, double crochet on top of the single, and you'll do that for the next 3 rows. So when you do row number 3, I think at the end you'll have a double crochet, so you'll start with a single crochet just like I did on row number 2. So pretty much single crochets always go on top of the doubles from the previous round, and double crochets go on top of the single crochets from the previous round. And you can always tell because there's these little holes right here for the single crochets. So if you get a little confused and you're like, well, what do I do now? Well, there's no hole right here, so this is going to be a single crochet. There's a hole or a spacing right there, so that's going to be a double crochet. Okay, single crochet, double crochet, and take your time with this stitch. Once you get used to the stitch, it becomes very quick and very easy, and you don't have to think about it too much. Before you know it, you'll have it done in no time. So we're on row number 2. I will meet you at the end in just a moment. Alrighty, so reaching the end of row number 2, which is actually row number 6. And I just put a single crochet 1 stitch before the end, so you are going to end off on a double crochet. So as the pattern goes is if you start with a single crochet, you'll end with a double. Then you start with a single, you'll end with a double. Okay, so now for row number 7 or row number 3, you're going to chain 1 now, turn your work, and you're going to put 1 single crochet in the top of that double crochet, 1 double crochet in the top of the single, 1 single on top of the double, 1 double on top of the single crochet. Okay, just like that. And I will meet you at the end of row number 4. Alright, on row number 4, which is actually row number 8, and I have 1 double crochet to put into my very last stitch. Okay, so that is what the pattern is going to look like. Now for row number 9. So for rows number 9 through 12, you're going to repeat. So you're going to chain 1 for row number 9. And you're just going to put 1 double crochet into that very first stitch, and 1 double crochet into every single stitch. And you will do 4 rows of the double crochet, 4 rows of the single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet. And I am going to do this for 52 rows. By the time I'm on row number 52, I want to leave off on the double crochet row. Okay, so now that you have an idea of what this pattern is going to look like. This is going to be the front piece. Uh-oh, here comes Sonia. She's on the desk. You're going to do 2 of the fronts. Alrighty, I will see you shortly. I will see you in about 52 rows, or when I have both of these fronts done. Okay, so I'm back, and I have 1 more stitch left. I'm going to double crochet right into there, and then the 52 rows are done. Grab your scissors, cut your yarn, yarn over and pull through, and then tighten. And this is 52 rows. So I have my tape measure here so I can measure this for you. Okay. So here's the tape measure. So the width of the cardigan is actually going to be 15 inches wide, okay? And then with the 52 rows, let me move my lights out of the way so I can flatten this out real quick. So that is how wide, or excuse me, how long one of the fronts is going to be. I wanted this kind of long, so it is actually 29, a little bit over 29 inches. Okay, so that's how long this cardigan is. Now I already did the 2 fronts, so that is the first one, and this is the second front. Okay, so both of those are done. And I already did the back as well. So let's put these 2 off to the side and I'll show you the back. And this is the back of the cardigan. I'm gonna spread this one out as well. So this is the width of it. And the width of the cardigan is actually a little bit over 31 inches. It's closer to 31 and a half. Okay. And then I'm actually going to kind of fold this. I'll open it so that way you can see how wide. This is really big. So there we go. That is how big. As you can see, it's a little bit going over my desk. I'm going to fold it in half so that way I can fit it on my desk and I can measure this for you. This one should be the 29, a little bit over 29 inches, but let's make sure. This one is actually a little bit over 26, so I've got to add more rows to this back portion, and I will show you how to start the back portion. Okay, so we're going to start the back portion. Now, since I already finished the back portion, I am just going to show you with less chains. So you're going to make a slip knot real quick. Okay. And for the back portion, what I did was 76 foundation single crochets, and that made it 30 inches wide. If you want your back to be a little bit smaller, do less chains or less foundation single crochets. So now we're going to make a chain of 2. So 1, 2, and you're going to go back into the first chain that you just made. Grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through the first loop to make a chain. Yarn over and pull through both loops to make a single crochet. Go back under those 2 bars that you just made. Grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. Yarn over and pull through the first loop. Yarn over and pull through both loops to make a single crochet. I am going to make 10 of these, and then I will be back in just a moment. Okay, when you have your 76 foundation single crochets, you're going to flip your work upwards, because you're always working on the bottom when you're doing your foundation chain, so you always want to make sure your yarn tail is up. Now we want to flip our work upwards, and we're going to chain 1. Now when I started this pattern, I was trying to figure out what kind of pattern style I wanted to do, so I'm going to show you that one, because both of the back and one of the fronts is exactly like this one, not the one that I showed you in the beginning of this video. So what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over, go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. You're going to put 1 double crochet into each of the stitches until you get to the end. And this will be starting row 1. Alrighty, so you should have 10 double crochets. For row number 2, what I ended up doing was chaining 1, turning my work, and putting 1 single crochet into that very first stitch, and then 1 double crochet. And to do a single crochet, you just go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And I did this for a total of 2 rows. So I'm going to do the 2 rows, and I'll be back in just a moment. So I'm at the end of row 1, or row 2, and at this end of this row you will put a double crochet. So anytime you put a single crochet at the beginning of the round, you'll put one at the end, you'll put a double crochet at the end of that round. And then when you chain 1 and turn your work for round number 3, you'll put a single crochet on the top of that double crochet, and then a double crochet into the top of the single crochet from the previous round. So this is a double crochet, so we're going to put a single crochet in there. This is a single crochet, so I'm going to put a double crochet in there. And the single crochets are a lot easier to see because there's spacings right here, so you'll know those are single crochets. So I did this for 2 rounds, the single crochet, double crochet, okay, and then I'll put a double crochet at the very end. And so that was round 3. And for round number 4, let's see here, so 1, 2, 3, yeah, so for round number 4, what I ended up doing was 4 double crochets. Actually, I think it was 3 double crochets, yeah, so for rounds, let's see here, 4, 5, and 6 was 3 rows of just double crochet. And then finally for row number 7, what I ended up doing was going back to the single crochet, double crochet for 4 rounds. And that was on row number 8. Is that right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 7 would be back to the single crochet, double crochet. So rounds 7, 8, 9, and 10 would all be the single crochet, double crochet. And then 11, 12, 13, and 14 would all be the double crochet. So then I did 4 rounds, 4 rounds, 4 rounds. And that's how I would do this pattern. But this is how it looks like. I'll show you on one of the front pieces. Should be this one. So this is one of the front pieces, okay, and as you can see down here at the very bottom, I had double crochet, then I had 2 rounds of the single double crochet row, and then here are the 3 rows of the double crochets, as you can see, and then row number 7, 8, 9, and 10 were now 4 rows of the single crochet, double crochets. And then as you can see, 11, 12, 13, and 14 were double crochet. So right about row 7 is when I figured out the pattern I wanted to do 4, 4, and 4. And in the very beginning of the video, I actually showed you just do 4 rows of double crochet first, then 4 rows of the single crochet, double crochet, just to make it easier. These rows down here was me trying to figure out the pattern. Do I want to do it every 1 row, every 2 rows, every 3 rows? The 4 rows looked way better, so that's where we're coming up with that. Okay, so now that you understand that pattern, if that's the pattern you want to do at the beginning of your work, you can do that, or you can just stick to what I showed you at the beginning of the video. Now we're going to connect the fronts and the back pieces. Okay, so now we are going to connect the back piece and the front piece. And yes, I did finish the rows that I needed to finish for the back piece. Now I have some stitch markers here because before you start your back piece and before you start connecting it, you're going to want to know where do you want your sleeve to go. So I have the back piece right here. This is the top of it, and I have the measurements for my friend's sleeve, my sister. She wants 8 inches. Okay, so you're going to go from the top of your cardigan and you're going to measure down to where 8 inches are, right there. Okay, so this is where 8 inches is for her sleeve. And what that means is this is where her shoulder and arm opening is going to be. So what I'm going to do is, let's try that one more time. Let me make sure I get this right. So you're going to go from the top of your cardigan to where 8 inches is. So we'll just scoot it over just a tad. So I'm starting at the very top right here. Okay, and then I'm going to go right there. And 8 inches is right about there. And if I kind of look at it, I see that it's right close to a double crochet right here. So I am actually going to put my stitch marker right here for 8 inches. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. So I had to fold the back because it was pretty big and it's kind of hard to see in the camera. And so we're going to do it again. So there's the 8 inches. Okay, so there's 8 inches right there. And we're going to go down to this double crochet. Now her sleeve is going to be a tad wider, and she likes a wider sleeve, just by a little bit. She doesn't want them too tight. So there we go. So there are your sleeves right there. So that is the most important part of crocheting your fronts and your back, is making sure you know where your opening is for your sleeve. So that way you do not crochet that portion. Okay. So now we're going to get to crocheting the front to the back. Okay, crocheting the front to the back. Make sure you have your front piece, which I do right here, and I have my back piece. And good thing I have these little stitch markers on here, so that way I don't sew the back piece together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the front piece to the back piece. We're going to do a single crochet border, and we're going to do it in white, because I think that would be a very contrasting color to this teal color. So I'm making sure I'm lining this up real quick. Okay, now this one's going to be a little more difficult for me to line up because I crocheted it differently. Okay, so we're going to grab our hook now that we have it lined up, and make sure you're actually working on the side of your cardigan and not the bottom. Okay, we're going to start down here in the very bottom, And I am just going to put my hook into here and put my hook into here. Grab my white yarn, and we're going to connect it right onto the work. And we are going to do a single crochet border. Put your hook back into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and chain 1. Go back into that stitch for a single crochet. Okay, so now for this one. So what you're going to do is just look for spacings in the cardigan and just crochet, single crochet into those spacings. Okay, as close as you can get. So if there's a spacing right there, you can also pull your cardigan apart too, and you're like, there's a spacing, there's a spacing. Okay, and that is just how easy this is. Just wherever you can put your hook into and wherever you can crochet into, and that is what it's going to look like. The other thing you can also do too is you can also pin it. So you can pin this while you're single crocheting, might make it a little bit easier. So I'm going to crochet this all the way up to the stitch markers right here, and I will meet you back in just a moment. Take your time with this, go slow. I'm gonna have to readjust this so I make sure that I have everything nice and lined up. Okay, I will be back shortly. Alrighty, so I'm back, and I had to use a pin so I knew where my last stitch was going to be. So this is going to be my last 2 stitches right here. Let's make sure, yep, last 2 stitches right here. 1, let's pull this out. Okay, and then 1 more back in there, and then that is done. So I finally got one side completely done, and we're just going to take our scissors and we're going to cut, yarn over and pull through and tighten. Okay, so one side is already completely finished. Now I'm going to go to the other side over here. Okay, so I grabbed the other side and readjusted it, and so now we're ready to do the single crochet border. So grab your white yarn, go back into this stitch and this stitch right here and tie on. Just like that. So once you've tied on, put your hook back in there, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and chain 1, go back into that stitch for 1 single crochet, go into that stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops for a single crochet. And then of course you're just going to put 1 single crochet into every single spacing that you can find along the side right here. And if you need to, you can pull it apart to find out where more spacings are. So I go back into here, look for another spacing. Okay, so I'm going to do this all the way up until I get to my stitch marker, and then we will get started on the sleeves. Okay, so just like that, just like we did on the other side. So you do 1 on the left side and 1 on the right side. I'll be back shortly. Alright, so I'm back and I have a few more stitches to go, and I'm right at the end. And I know I said that we would do the sleeve once I came back on camera. We are actually not going to do the sleeve just yet. We have to single crochet the top portion of our cardigan first before we do that. Okay, so there we go, last stitch. Take your scissors, cut your yarn, yarn over, pull through and pull tight, and then take this piece off right here. Okay, now that you have both of your fronts put together, you're going to open up your cardigan like this. And I will pull the camera out and show you what I'm doing. Okay, so do you see that? That is the top of your cardigan right there. Okay, and so I'm gonna have these flaps, because if we flap them over like this, that is what your whole entire cardigan looks like. So I made the front pieces pretty wide. So we will be doing a border. Okay, so let's get back to the cardigan. I'm gonna fold this over so we can see this. Okay, so when you get to the top portion of your cardigan right up here, and I already counted it, that's why I have these little pins at the top. You're going to start with this one and you're going to count 20 stitches across, and I felt that would be wide enough for her shoulders. Okay, so I did it on both sides, 20 stitches. Make sure to count the front and the back, and then pin them where you're going to crochet them. We are going to use the white yarn. Go ahead and grab your white yarn, pull out your pin, and in the top of the stitches right here, put your hook in there, grab your white yarn and connect them. Just like that. Okay? And we're going to do the same thing that we did with the rest of the sides. Put your hook back in there, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and chain one, go back in that stitch for a single crochet. Okay, and now what you're going to do is you're going to go under both bars like this, both of them, and you're going to make a single crochet. Okay, so you're going to do that all the way across, under these two, under those two, yarn over and pull up a loop. The yarn tail is going to kind of get in the way, and you're going to do this across 20 stitches. And I will meet you on the other side in just a few moments. When you have made it across, I'll have two more stitches of this one and the one where my pin is. Once you have made it across 20 stitches, you will take your scissors, cut your yarn over and pull through and tighten. And that's what it should look like. If that is not wide enough, just keep going until you have enough stitches for your shoulder. Now we're going to do the other side. And on this side, we're going to do the same thing. So I am going to pull out this pin right here and put my hook right where my fingers are. Grab my white yarn, connect, put my hook back in there, grab my working yarn, pull up a loop, chain one, and single crochet back into that stitch, and single crochet under both bars all the way across 20 stitches. And I will meet you down at the other end in just a moment. Okay, so I've made it to the other end, and I'm going to pull out my last pin, and I just have well, on one side I have 2 stitches and on the other side I have 1 stitch. So you're just going to go into this stitch, go back into that stitch for a single crochet, and then finish off with your very last stitch. Just like that. And then you're going to take your scissors and cut your yarn. And then you're just going to yarn over and pull through and pull tight. And this is what one side looks like. And this is what the other side looks like. Alright, so now we're going to start on the sleeves. And the one yarn that you are going to want to grab is your brown yarn. So you're going to want to grab your brown yarn. This is the coffee one that I showed you in the very beginning with the tools. And we are going to start with our sleeve. Now, I said in the beginning I was going to change hooks to a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. I'm actually going to stick with the 6 millimeter crochet hook. My sister wanted a bigger sleeve and more room, so I'm just going to stick with this one. So let's get started with the sleeve. Alrighty, so we are back. The color we're actually going to use is this light brown color, and I think it's called Cafe instead of the coffee. It was too dark. I grabbed the wrong color. So we're going to do the sleeve. I did the first one in white, and we have this really pretty fan stitch at the very end as our border. So for this sleeve it's going to all be in brown, and then I'm going to do the fan stitch in white. Okay, so you're going to grab your cardigan and the opening right here, and you can start anywhere along your sleeve. So I'm going to put it right here, and we're going to connect it to the cardigan. We're going to do double crochets. It's going to be very easy. So put your hook into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and chain one. Go back into that stitch for a double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over and pull through two. And I am going to double crochet into every single stitch. Skip over this one. These are not stitches. They were just the connection for the front and the back. So I'm going to skip right over it and just put a double crochet right into here. And then I'm just going to find stitches. What we're looking for is 51 stitches all the way around this cardigan. This sleeve portion. So if you have to skip holes, go ahead and do that. So I might skip a bunch of holes, or spacings is what I call these right here. So spacings or holes, we're going to skip those. And once I have 51 stitches, double crochets, I will meet you back here at the very beginning. Alrighty, so I made it all the way back around, and I have one more double crochet. I just have to double crochet into, and then just slip stitch into the very first stitch of the round. Now when you are crocheting your sleeve, I would suggest crocheting on the outside instead of the inside. It makes the stitch look a little different, and sometimes I think it looks better. Okay, so that was round number 1. For round 2 through 4, you're just going to double crochet into every single stitch. So that's about 3 rounds. Once you get to the end right here, you'll just slip stitch into your very first stitch of the round, and then chain 1, double crochet into every single stitch. I will meet you back in about 3 rounds, and we will start the decrease process. Okay, I'll be back shortly. Okay, so when you have crocheted the 3 rows, you should technically have 4 rows. So you should be on row number 5, which is going to be a decrease row. So I just have one more double crochet, and then I'm just going to slip stitch into this very first stitch from the beginning of the round, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. So now you have 4 rows. This sleeve is going to consist of 32 rows in total. Okay, so row number 5, so we had 51 stitches. This is going to be your decrease row. So you're going to chain 1, go back into that very first stitch, and do yarn over, go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, and pull up a loop. yarn over and only pull through 2 of those loops. Then you're going to yarn over, go into your next stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through all 3. So we just decreased 2 stitches. So instead of 51, we should have 49 stitches, excuse me. We're actually going to decrease 2 stitches in the beginning and 2 stitches at the end. Technically that will make it 1 stitch, so actually you have 50 stitches, and then once you decrease over here you should have 49 stitches altogether. And then all you're going to do is double crochet into every single stitch until you make it back around to the beginning. Make sure to skip these 2 stitches so I can show you how to decrease them again, and I'll be back shortly. Alrighty, so I made it all the way back around and I have 2 stitches left, so we're going to decrease them. So you're going to yarn over, go into that very first stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, keep those 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, go into your second stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3, and slip stitch into the very first stitch from the beginning of the round. So now if you count your stitches, you should have 49 stitches all together, and this is row number 5. Okay, so for the next row we're just going to repeat row number 5 until we get to row number 13. And so what I'm going to do, it's actually row number 12, because on row number 13 I just want to decrease 1 stitch. So you're going to repeat row number 5, so which is chain 1, go back into your stitch, grab your working yarn, yarn over and pull through 2, keep those 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, go into your next stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, then yarn over and pull through 3. By the time you make it to row number 12, you should have 35 stitches. And then we'll decrease 1 more time on row number 13 to make it 34 stitches. Now, since I kind of messed up on the white sleeve, we are actually going to leave off on row number 12 with 35 stitches, because this one actually had 35 stitches. So that's what we're going to do. So you're going to repeat row number 5 all the way to row number 12, decreasing at the very beginning and at the very end. And I will meet you back on row number 12. Alrighty, I am back and I reached row number 12. The only thing I have to do now is just slip stitch into this last stitch. Now make sure that when you reach row number 12 that you actually have 35 stitches. Yarn over, pull through, and pull through. So I counted all my stitches. I have 35. I'm not going to decrease anymore. This is what the sleeve looks like. This is 12 rows. Okay, so from row 12 now to row 30, the only thing you're going to be doing is chain 1, double crochet into that very first stitch, and then double crochet into every single stitch all the way around. And I will meet you back on row number 30 so we can finish off this sleeve. Now remember, if you do not want your sleeve as long as I am making it, I believe my sleeve is going to be about 25 to 30 inches long. I am making a longer sleeve. You can stop at row 25 or however long your arm is. Okay, so I will meet you back on row number 30. Alrighty, I am back and I'm on row number 30. I have one more double crochet I just have to double crochet into, and then I just have to slip stitch. So you go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull the loop, yarn over, and pull through. And then we'll just grab our scissors. Here they are. I'm going to cut my brown yarn, and now we're going to connect our white yarn. Yarn over and pull through, and then tighten. And then there we go. That should be your sleeve. That's 30 rows. Okay, so to start row number 31, we're going to go into this stitch. So you can go into any stitch, on your sleeve. So I'm going to go into this one and connect my white yarn. And we're going to do a fan stitch. So I'm just going to tie that on. Go back into your stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop, yarn over and chain 1. Now into this stitch I'm going to put 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. When I come back around, I'm going to put a third one into that. I'm going to put a third double crochet into there and slip stitch once I come back all the way around. Now what you're going to do is you're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the third one you're going to put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. Now this is also called the fan stitch or the granny stripe. Okay, and then you're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the third stitch you're going to put 3 double crochets. Okay, and that's what it should look like. And then you'll turn your sleeve just like this, and you'll skip 2 stitches, yarn over, 1, 2, and into the third you'll put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. I am so sorry. Those are my neighbors. They are right next to our window, so sorry if you hear people talking. One more time and I'll let you go, and we'll go all the way around. Skip 2 stitches, and into the third you're going to put 3 double crochets. 1, 2, and 3. You're going to do that all the way around until you get back to the beginning, and I will meet you back at the beginning in just one moment. Alrighty, so we're reaching around to the end, and you should have 2 stitches left, and into the third stitch you should be able to put one more little fan stitch right into that stitch. Okay, and then one more stitch, and then you should have 2 more stitches, and into that third stitch, that's where you're going to put your last double crochet like I said, and then you're going to slip stitch into the very first stitch from the beginning of the round, yarn over, pull through, and pull through, and then there you are. Grab your scissors, cut your yarn, yarn over, and pull through and pull through. If you hear that ticking in the background, it's because we have the ceiling fan on. We are cleaning the oven and it smells, so it's really strong. So now you're going to grab your brown yarn and you're going to find a stitch. I'm going to do it in this one right here in the middle. I'm going to connect it right here. Okay, and what we're going to do for this one now is we're going to do a single crochet stitch. So go back into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and chain 1. Go back into that stitch for a single crochet. So go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both loops. Go into your next stitch for a single crochet. Now go under the spacing like this, not into the actual stitch, and do a single crochet. It'll actually make your stitch look really good. And so when you go into your next stitches, you will skip this one and go into the next 2 stitches for a single crochet, and then go underneath the spacing like this. Okay. Single crochet into the next 2 stitches. I am sorry, my neighbors are talking very loudly again. Go into your next stitch for a single crochet, and then go underneath the spacing for a single crochet. And this is what it should look like. Do that all the way around, and I'll meet you right back here at the very beginning in just a moment. Alrighty, so we are almost there. This little piece may look very, very confusing. Do not let it be confusing. Skip that stitch right there and go into this stitch right here. And it'll still make everything look good. Then that way you only have to single crochet into the 2 stitches, single crochet underneath like this, and then slip stitch into your first stitch from the beginning of the round. Go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull through and pull through. And then you'll grab your scissors, cut your yarn over and pull through and tighten. And that is what your border should look like on your sleeve. So this is how long your sleeve should be. Now you'll make 2 of these. So if you just are making your first one, which would be the brown one, now you make your second one in white. And I am going to grab the tape measure so I can actually measure the sleeve for you so you know exactly how long this is. Go from the top all the way from the bottom. So this sleeve is apparently 23 inches or a little bit back, okay? So that is how long this sleeve is, and the width in the middle is actually going to be, it looks like 8.5 inches wide, this wider piece right here, and then your smaller piece is actually going to be, it looks like 6.5 inches. Okay, so the smaller piece is 6.5, the wider piece is 8.5, and the whole length of the sleeve is actually close to about 23 inches. My apologies, I thought it was going to be about 30 inches long. I did make it a little bit longer for my sleeve. It was about 20 inches, 18 to 20 inches. Okay, so now that we are finished with the sleeves, finally, the next thing we're going to work on is going to be the pocket. I can find it, it's somewhere here on my desk. So I made one of the pockets, and this is what the pocket will look like. We are again using the fan stitch. It is very beautiful. It is in the multiple colors of the white and the teal, and this is the top portion of your pocket. And it is only going to be one piece instead of the 2 pieces like I sometimes do with my pockets. Okay, so let's grab our yarn and let's get started on the pocket. Okay, so we are going to start on the pocket. So go ahead and make a slip knot. So I'm going to wrap my yarn around my 2 fingers, pull out, pull that loop from behind, and go in and tighten. Okay, so we've made our slip knot. We are going to make a foundation single crochet of 23, so you're going to want to chain 2. So yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through. You're going to go back into that first chain that you made from the beginning of the round. Grab your working yarn and pull up a loop. Yarn over to chain 1. Yarn over to make that single crochet. You're going to go back under those 2 bars right there and do it again. Yarn over, pull up a loop. Yarn over and chain 1. Yarn over and pull through both loops to make a single crochet. Now if you want your pocket wider, because this is how wide the pocket is, and let me get my tape measure. So the width of the pocket is actually going to be 7 inches wide. Okay, if you need it wider, just add more foundation single crochets. And then this one is a little bit under 8.5 inches tall. If you want it taller, just add more rows. Okay, I'm making this one a little bit smaller. I don't know why, I just didn't really want to make it that wide. So I'm going to do a foundation of 23. When I am done, I will be back shortly. Oh, here comes my Sody Bear. I haven't seen her in the video. Somebody want to say hello? There she is. There's my baby girl. She wanted to come on the desk and say hi. Okay, so I will be back once I have 23 of these. Okay, so when you've made 23 foundation single crochets, you're going to chain 1 and flip your work upwards. This is called the closed scallop stitch. And so how this is worked is you're going to double crochet 3 times into your very first stitch. So 1, this is number 2, and this one's number 3. Then you're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the third you're going to put a single crochet. You're going to yarn over, pull up loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And then you're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the third stitch you're now going to put 4 double crochets. So 1. Oh, here comes Sonia. She just got done eating. And you could just hear her climbing up on my chair. Okay, so there's 2. There's 3. And there's 4. Okay. And then you're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the third you're going to put 4 double crochets. Ooh, excuse me. You're going to put a single crochet. Skip 2 stitches and then put a single crochet. Excuse me. Yes. And you're going to skip 2 stitches, and into the third you're going to put 4 double crochets now. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Skip 2 stitches, into the third you're going to put a single crochet. Skip 2 stitches, and into the third you're going to put 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Skip 2 stitches, and into the third you're supposed to put a single crochet. What we're going to do on this one though is you're going to skip 1 stitch, and into the next you're going to put a single crochet. So I kind of missed out on the count, but that's okay. And you're just going to skip 1 stitch and put 3 double crochets into that stitch. And actually, no, I was right. Okay, so what you're going to do on this one is, since you have to skip 3 stitches, skip 3 stitches, and into the last stitch put a single crochet. So this one's the odd one, where you put 3 on one side and a single crochet on the other. Alrighty, so now we're going to be working on row number 2. Okay, so this is row number 2, and this will be your repeat row. So for row number 2, you're going to chain 1, turn your work. Into that very first single crochet, we're going to put 3 double crochets. So pretty much every row that you do, if you do a single crochet from the previous round, or the previous row, then the next row you will put 3 double crochets. Next, what you're going to do is, in the middle of the 4 double crochets, you're going to put a single crochet. Just like that. Right in the middle. And then you'll go to your single crochet from the previous round and put 4 double crochets right into that single crochet from the previous round. That's 2, this is 3, this one is 4, here comes Sonia. Now with those 4 double crochets, 1, 2, pull them apart right in the middle. You'll go right into there, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both for a single crochet. And then into that single crochet right there, you're going to put 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you're going to grab your 4 double crochets and pull them apart, and right in the middle you're going to put a single crochet. Okay, and then into your single crochet you're going to put 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then finally at the end of your row, you'll find that very first double crochet from the previous round, and you're going to put 1 single crochet right into that double crochet. And that is how you work round number 2, and that will be your repeat row for every row afterwards. So what I ended up doing was I ended up doing 4 rows. So 1 row is right here where the 4 double crochets are, if I can get my fingers in there. So that's 1 row right here. This is a single crochet, so that's 2 rows. Then this is 3, and this row right here is row number 4. Sonia just stepped on my work because she wants a place to lay down. So I did that. So I pretty much did 4 rows in total for each color. I did that for the teal and for the white, and at the very end, she's stepping on my chips if you're wondering what that noise is. Sorry about that, she was crushing them. So pretty much we have 4, 8, 16, we have 24 rows, and this top one is row 25. I am going to finish the 24 rows. Changing color in white is very easy. I've shown that to you several times. She keeps squishing all my chips, so they're going to be destroyed, which is okay. She just wants to lay on the cardigan. Here, I'll show you what she looks like. It's very cute. There she is, and she is laying on the cardigan I'm working on. And then on top of that, these are the chips that she squished, and I have more chips under there. So she's pretty much going to lay there and watch me crochet this. Okay, so I will be back shortly once I have 2 blocks of blue and 2 blocks of white, and then I will show you how to do the top border, and then we will get to sewing the pockets onto the cardigan, and then I will show you how to do a hood. And the hood is actually going to be in 2 colors. We're going to do it in the teal and the white, so it'll be half and half. So it'll be half white and half teal. Alrighty, so I will see you shortly. I know I said that I would meet you once I had all 4 blocks done, but I wanted to show you this before I finish. So I finished the 4 rows. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the teal color, and I'm going to fasten off. So you're just going to cut your yarn, yarn over, pull through, and tighten. And so what I ended up doing was just putting my hook back into here and connecting my white yarn just like this, and tying it onto my work, making it so much easier. And then all I did, since this is a single crochet where I had left off, I'm going to put my hook back into my stitch, grab my working yarn and pull up a loop, yarn over and chain 1, And then all I'm going to do is put 3 double crochets all into the top of the single crochet. Just like that. And then I'm going to pull apart my 4 double crochets and put a single crochet right into the top of that. So I hope that way you can actually see what I meant by pulling apart the 4 double crochets and just putting it into the spacing and not a stitch. And then I'll put my 4 double crochets into the top of my single crochet. The white helps a lot because then you can see where I'm actually putting my stitches. And then again, you will take the 4 double crochets like this, pull them apart, and put your hook right in there for a single crochet. And then I'll put 4 double crochets into the single crochet from the previous round. Three and 4, just like that. And then if you can see the 4 double crochets, then you just put your hook right into that spacing, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And then you put 4 double crochets into the top of the single crochet from the previous round. 2, 3, and 4. And then you find your first double crochet from the previous round right there. You can also turn your work and see there's actual stitches right here, so the V stitches. And you want this very last one on the very end, and that's where you'll put your single crochet into. And that is what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to finish the 3 blocks because I already finished 1, so now I have 3 left, and then I'll show you how to single crochet the top, and then we'll go from there. Alrighty, so I am back and I finished all the rows. As you can see, this is my second pocket, and so now we're going to finish off the top portion right up here with a single crochet. So you're just going to put your hook right into your stitch. And then I'm just going to connect my blue yarn onto my pocket. Now if you're wondering what that is in the background, that is the cardigan, because next we are going to sew the pocket onto our cardigan. Okay, so put your hook back into your stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop and chain 1, and then turn your work. And then all you're going to do is you're going to put a single crochet back into that very first stitch, go back into that stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both. And then you're just going to single crochet into every single stitch all the way across, just like this. So you'll single crochet into 4 stitches. That'll be on the cluster of 4. Okay, and then you'll single crochet into that single crochet from the previous row. And I'm just going to single crochet all the way across. Just like that. Now when we do our pocket, we are going to use the white yarn. So let me just get across this row real quick. If you made it this far into the video, don't forget to scroll down, hit that like button. And if you want to see more videos and tutorials such as this one, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Alrighty, 1 more stitch right into the side right there. Sometimes you'll have to turn it so you can see it. And single crochet, and then grab your scissors. Cut your yarn over, pull through, and tighten. And your second pocket is finally done. And that is what it looks like, okay? And then you'll take your cardigan So I'm going to put that one off to the side. Now you'll take your cardigan, which I have right here, and you'll put it onto the front portion of your cardigan, so on your front pieces. So what I ended up doing is on, let's say, I believe this is the right side, so from the beginning portion right here, I counted all these little stitches right here. I counted 14, so I skipped, I think this is 4 rows, so 1, 2, 3, yeah, so about 3 rows I skipped, so 5 rows I skipped, so that way I had a good portion. And then I counted 14 stitches from the side piece, and then I counted 17 stitches, and then I pinned my pocket just like that. Okay, and then I just put my pocket on it like this. And then I also did the same up here. I counted the 14 stitches right up here at the very top, 17 stitches across until I got to right here. And I did it just underneath the double crochet. And then on the other side, I ended up just putting pins. Some of the pins you can't see very well, but on this side I started putting the pins. So here's one right there. There's the other one. There's that pin, and then there's a green one right there. Okay, so that one is for the second pocket. Okay, so now what you're gonna do is grab your white yarn like this. Okay, turn your cardigan. And if you want to know how much yarn you're going to need, you flatten your pocket out like so, and then you'll take your white yarn, make sure you have enough of it, and I go around the pocket 3 times. So I'm going to start at the top right here. Okay, I'm just going to go around the pocket like this, just like that. I'm going to do that about 3 times, so 1, that's 2, okay, I'm going to do it one more time, and this will be 3, okay, whoops, 3, and then what I do is I have a little bit of thread left over, and then I will cut my yarn, and that is how much you will need to sew your pocket. So let me get my needle and we'll get to sewing this really quickly. Okay, once you have your yarn, or you can also use sewing thread, either one is fine. Once you have your needle, you just put your yarn onto your needle and kind of force it through like this. I always make sure I have a large eye hole, and you always want to have a little bit of a tail like this, so when you're sewing it doesn't come off. And we're going to start down here at the very bottom. So let me move my camera down. Okay, so we're going to start down here at the bottom. I'm going to put my finger into that hole. I'm going to put my needle into this spacing right here and into some stitches like this. And the first initial one is always the most difficult because you have to go through a lot of stitches, and then you just tie right on. I like to do this twice so that way it does not come off. Tie it on twice. Okay, so now I'm going to put my fingers into the cardigan so I don't sew the front piece to the back piece. And I'm just going to start sewing right into the side and going into the stitches. And as the initial, I'm pretty much doing what I call a whip stitch. Okay, so I'm going to go into here and I'm going in between the stitches. Okay. And you want to kind of do this slowly. Since I'm doing white on blue, sometimes it's hard to see your stitches, so you can pull it up like this, go in between your stitches like that. Okay. Take your time, go slowly. There's no rush. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some stitches like this. Okay. And what I'm initially doing is going on to the side of the actual pocket like this. So here's the side of the pocket. Okay, and I'm going to go into those stitches, and then I'm going to go in between this stitch right here. Now you can go through more stitches if you would like to. And as you can see, it's starting to sew up nicely. And as you move down, move your finger to where you can pull up on the stitches like this. You can also put your thumb in there as well. You can go into a couple of stitches like I just did. However many to try and get your pocket sewn onto your cardigan. And I'm also doing a seamless seam. So when I flip this over, okay, you cannot see it within the work. Not this right here. The pocket's actually right here where these little stitches are, okay? So that is also how you can make your pocket seamless. The other thing is too, if you have issues thinking that you are going to sew into your back portion, move your back portion out of the way like I'm doing right here and lay it nice and flat on the table like that. Then that way there's nothing underneath and you can start sewing your pocket again. So you can just start picking up some stitches like I'm doing right here. Okay, picking up some stitches right there and then just going right into your cardigan like this. Okay, so that is another way if you feel like, oh, I'm going to crochet into my back portion, move it out from underneath you, and then that way you won't be so inclined to try and crochet sew into your back portion. Okay, so I'm just gonna get this done. I will meet you back once I get back around to this portion right here, and then we will start on the hood. Okay, so I will be back shortly. Go slowly, and then we'll be back shortly. Alrighty, so that didn't take me very long to do, so I'm back around at the very beginning like I said I would. And don't forget to take out your pins. You don't want to leave that into your cardigan and then get poked later. So pretty much I have one more stitch that I just need to sew into, and then we're going to finish it off. So I'm going to sew into this real quick. Okay, so there's my very last stitch. Okay, and now we're just going to finish this off real quick. So I'm going to go back into that stitch like so. Okay, I'm going to make that little loop right there, so put your finger into that loop, put your needle into that loop to make another one. So there's your second loop right there. Now pull out your finger and put it into the brand new loop and start pulling with your finger to kind of close off that first loop. Okay, so we want to close it off. And now we're going to take our finger out of that loop and put our needle through the new loop and start to slowly close it off till you start hearing that click. There it goes, it's done. And then I'm going to go back through a few stitches like this because I want to sew in this string and be done with it. There we go. So I went through some stitches and I'm just going to pull it right through like this. Kind of pull tight on it. It looks nice and good. All you see is a little knot. And then we're going to grab our scissors and cut our yarn right off. And that is what your pocket will look like onto your cardigan. Now this is a really big cardigan. Okay, so those are all the little stitches. This is how big your pocket is. It actually is pretty nice. So as you are sewing along the side right here, what ends up happening is you might stretch out your pocket a little bit more. So instead of it being 17 stitches across, it might actually turn out to be 18 to 19 to 20 stitches, okay? So that is the initial, is it's 17 stitches across, but then you'll stretch it out and it becomes more stitches. And that becomes a bigger pocket. Okay, so now that we are finished, we are now going to start on the hood. And as for the colors that you are going to be using for your hood, it is going to be in the white and the teal color. So I'm gonna move the cardigan to where I can crochet the hood. So when you normally do your hood, you're gonna do it in like a rectangle, and then at the top you'll fold it and sew it at the top, making the initial hood. Okay, so let's get to that. Okay, so I'm back, and what I'm finding out is this portion right here isn't long enough. So when I'm putting this on my own shoulders, this is more off of the shoulders, and so you have more of at least about a gap like that from my shoulder to my neck. So what we're actually going to end up doing is taking our yarn, and we're going to kind of close off this gap right here. And in order to do that, we're going to start in this corner right here. So you're going to grab your blue yarn and you're going to connect it to your cardigan. And we're going to make a little bit smaller gap to make the hood. So when you normally put this on your body, what you're going to do is see if it fits. Okay, if it doesn't fit, this is where you're going to start making kind of like a collar. And then what you'll do is you'll take your cardigan and you'll measure it to where your chin is. So if this is more outward, so if this is where your chin is going to be, then this is where you will start to make the hood. Okay, so to close off this wonderful gap, we're gonna do, I'm gonna do half double crochets. So you're gonna chain one, yarn over, go back into your stitch, grab your working yarn, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops onto your hook. Maybe about 2 to 3 rows, and see if that piece will actually, this will actually close off that gap a little bit. Now my sister has wider shoulders than I do and longer shoulders, but I'm also feeling like this gap is too wide even for her shoulders. For me, I'm more of a smaller build, so this cardigan is very big on me. The arms are very long, and so all I'm going to do is half double crochet into every stitch all the way around for about 3 rows. What I'm trying to do is get to this gap portion right here so we can close that off real quick. Now another thing that you can initially do as well too is you can sew this as well. So like we could have just sewn it up a little bit more. Okay, so my apologies, I had to think about this for a minute. So I'm going to leave the half double crochet right here, right where it is, and that is perfect. And then I am going to close this gap off with white yarn. So I'm going to grab my white yarn and we are going to close this gap off really quickly. And so we're going to connect it onto this white piece right here. Okay, just like this. move the yarn tails out of the way. Okay, we'll just chain one here. Okay, and then we'll single crochet right into it, and then we'll single crochet until we get to, so I'm going to do 2 stitches, that's 3 stitches all together, so that's 3 stitches. And then I'm going to back this portion up just 1 more stitch like this, and I will do 4 stitches all together. So there are the 4 stitches, and I think that should work out much better, so that way it's more closed off. And then I'm going to cut my yarn. Yarn over, pull through, and tighten. And then I'm going to pick up this blue yarn right here, and we are just going to single crochet, we're going to half double crochet right over it to close it off. And then I'm going to half double crochet until I get to this side, and then I'll show you how to close that portion off as well. This is also really good because you can start a little tiny collar on top of the hood. And my sister likes big hoods, so I think this will be perfect. Okay, so I'll meet you over there in just a few moments. Just keep half double crocheting. Okay, so I am pretty much nearing closer to that portion. I just have 3 more stitches, so I'm just gonna half double crochet into the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and then I'm gonna pull my hook out, so we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th stitch right here. So we're not gonna crochet into that 5th stitch. So now I am going to turn my work a little bit so I can work a little bit easier. And then we're going to connect our white yarn just like we did before. Of course, I connected it into this portion right here. Okay, so connect your white yarn right into here like we did on the other side. And then we went back into that same stitch right there, grabbed our working yarn, pulled up a loop, chained 1, and single crocheted back into that stitch. That is what I ended up doing. And now I'm going to single crochet across 4 stitches. So 1, so I'm putting the 2 pieces together, the back and the front. Okay, and just like we did before, going under both bars and single crocheting. So that's 2. This one will be 3, and this last one will be 4. Okay, so that's 4 stitches. And now I'm going to cut my yarn. Yarn over, pull through, and pull through. I'm going to open up my back portion because that's what I'm working on right now. And, yep, okay. And then I am going to half double crochet into that 5th stitch, single crochet into this, half double crochet into this stitch, because I just single crocheted. Then go over to this stitch right here and half double crochet. And then I'm going to half double crochet until I get to the end. And that should actually close off our gap, because that was a pretty big gap for my shoulders and I wanted it to be a little more closed off. I think what I'm going to do with this half double crochet is just half double crochet 1 more row, and then we will get started on the hood. And I am going to do it in the 2 colors. It will be in the white and it will be in this teal color. And what I'm thinking about doing is half of it will be white, half of it will be teal. So I need to make sure that my stitches are going to be even. Okay, so I'm on the last 2 stitches, half double crochet right into there and right into there. Okay, and that is what your collar should look like. Okay, it's very nice and very pretty. I'm going to do one more row, try on the cardigan, see if that worked. If it did, then we'll work on the hood, and then I will tell you how many stitches we are skipping, so that way we can start on the hood. Okay, so then all you do next is you will chain 1, turn your work, and half double crochet into that very first stitch and then into every single stitch all the way around until you get around to the very beginning, and I'll meet you back here in just a few moments. Okay, so I tried on the cardigan and I did 7 stitches here, and on this side I also did 7 stitches and then counted it all the way around. It was actually 51 stitches, so I just did the 25. And so what we're going to do is we're going to fasten off this blue color right here. We're going to fasten on right where this is, and this time we are going to use white. So what I'm going to do is put the white on the brown side where the sleeve is. So cut your yarn over and pull through and tighten. So your sleeve will be on the brown side right here, which is on the left. So we're working on the left, and we're going to connect right here, and this is actually going to be white. You're going to grab your white yarn like this, and you're going to connect it on the left side. And on the right side where the white sleeve is, that is where I'm going to connect the teal color. So half of your hood is going to be in white, the other half is going to be in teal. So you're going to insert your hook into your stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop, yarn over in chain 1. We are going to do double crochets, okay? And what we're pretty much doing is working in a rectangle shape. So you're going to do it to the size of your head, which means from your, I believe it's from your shoulder to the top of your head is what you're going to do it by. So I'm going to double crochet 25 stitches until I get to this white portion, and then I will show you how to change to the teal. And then what I'm going to do is I'll show you what to do next. Okay, I will be back shortly. Okay, so I have made it 1 stitch before my initial stitch, so I'm just going to double crochet into there. And before we begin, we're going to take our teal yarn right here, and we are going to make a slip knot, because we want to connect this teal yarn to this. Okay, so you're going to go into your stitch with a double crochet, so yarn over, go into your stitch, grab your working yarn, pull up a loop, yarn over and only pull through 2 of those stitches. Hold on to your white one, and now grab your teal, put it onto your hook, yarn over to finish that double crochet, pull on that white yarn to tighten it, find the yarn tail from the teal yarn and tie on a knot. I normally like to do a double knot so it does not disconnect. Okay, so now you're going to be working in the teal. You're going to put the white one off to the side, and now we're going to be working in the teal, and you're going to double crochet until you get to your stitch marker, which is right here, which was, you're going to skip those 7 stitches, okay? And then what you'll do is you'll just keep doing this for several rows. Normally you're going to do about 25 to 30 rows, or however long you want your hood, pretty much you want your hood from your shoulders to the top of your head. Now, because this one is going to be a little bit taller than your shoulders, it might be probably the back of your neck. What I would suggest is measuring from the top of your head to your shoulders, and that'll tell you how tall you're going to make this rectangle. So you're just going to keep crocheting and crocheting till you have a long enough rectangle. Now, if you want a little bit of room from the top of your head to your hood, so you want probably like a couple of inches inside, what you'll do is you'll just keep crocheting enough rows until you have the spacing that you want inside of your hood. I would not suggest doing a short hood, as it will not fit to your head. Now, I wear my hair in a bow, or excuse me, a bun, and so I need a little more room inside of my hoods. So I normally give myself that extra spacing. Okay, so I'm actually nearing the stitch marker. Okay, and so all I'm going to do is crochet right into that stitch marker. Okay, and there we go. We're going to crochet right into that stitch marker, and we are done. Okay, and that is how you will crochet this hood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my work, and I will show you how to do this this portion right here where you change from teal to white. So all you're going to do is you're going to chain one, turn your work, and double crochet until you get to that middle portion, and I will be back shortly. Okay, so I made it to the middle section of the hood. So what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over, go into your stitch, grab your working yarn and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 stitches. Now you're going to put your blue yarn in the back of your work. So that way when you turn and you're doing this again, this will now be in the front of your work. Now you're going to pick up your white yarn, yarn over and pull through both loops to finish off the double crochet. Tighten that blue yarn in the back, yarn over, pick up your fake stitch now, pick up your regular stitch, hold those 2, yarn over, pull through both of those, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, and pull through 2. And that is how you will change your colors from teal to white. I am going to crochet this hood. This is probably going to take me about a couple of hours, so I will meet back up with you. And make sure when you're crocheting you do not crochet this blue yarn into your work, since you're going to be needing that to cross back over to the teal again. I will meet back up with you within a couple of hours, and we will go from there. Alrighty, so I finished the hood. It's actually 25 rows, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. 25 rows. I have the hood pinned because you want to pin it inside out. So that way when you flip it inside, you flip it the right way, this top portion will be on the inside of the hood instead of on the top of the hood. So make sure you're inside out. You'll be looking at this instead of this. So if you see this portion right here and you have your hood pinned the other way, then you need to flip it to where everything is inside out like this. Okay, your hood is pinned. So before we get started on that, we want to cut off our yarn. So let's do that real quickly. So I still have the blue attached, so we're going to cut, and I'm going to sew this in. So pull through and tighten. And then on the inside right here where the white portion is, we are actually going to make a little bit longer of a tail so I can sew that in for later. So then all my strings are now out of my way. And we are going to sew the top portion of our hood. And I actually had my needle ready right here. So this is as much as I need for my hood, okay? Alrighty, so when you are sewing your hood, you can sew it from this end or you can sew it on this end. Either way is fine. If you sew it on this end, make sure you find the end pieces. So like this would be an end piece right here, and this would be an end piece right there. Okay, and then you'll just put your string, your needle through those two pieces like this. Okay, and then you'll just tie right on. I would suggest pinning your hood like I have done so it's a little easier. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the two front bars, the two back bars. So these are the front bars, these are the bars in the back. So we're going to go through this one and this one. As you can see, it's a V-stitch, so we're not going to go through both like this. We're just going to go through the two like this. And I'm going to make a loop like so. And I'm going to go back through that loop and kind of tighten it like so. So if you need to, you can turn your work to where you can see the two bars, one here, one here. Make sure you're going through both of those loops, not through the actual loop. And this will make it nice and tight. And it'll actually seem a little more seamless, as you can see. So it looks like it's part of the hood. So in between the two bars like so, pull through. Make sure you have that loop and go back through the loop. There we go, just like that. This will actually make your work a little more secure. So when you turn it over like this is what it'll look like. So it'll look like it was actually supposed to be connected, and it doesn't look like you connected it. That's one way to make your hood very seamless. I'm moving the pin down so that way I can pin that section, and that way I know where all my stitches are at. And the other thing you can do too is you can pull your work apart so you can see those two loops. Alrighty, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew this all the way down to here. I'll meet you down there in just a few moments. One more thing I forgot to mention is if you wanted to know how I got the length of my thread, all I did was I took my thread or my yarn and I just held it from one side to the other and did that 3 times, and then had a little bit of yarn left. Or I made sure I had just a tad bit extra yarn right here, and then I cut it. So that way I knew that's how much yarn or thread I am going to need. Now you can use thread as well if you don't want to use yarn. I like to use yarn. I feel it makes it nicer because it's part of your work and you're using the same yarn as you did throughout your whole entire cardigan. Okay, I will be back shortly. If you're wondering how I'm doing that, I just put it through the hole and then I tighten it and it looks like you've sewed it. So pretty much what I just did was I put it through both loops. One here, one here. You can tighten that a little bit. Okay, made a loop, pulled it through So I pulled on it towards me like this and then tightened it. And that's how you can get that really neat look that I'm doing. Okay, I'll be down there in just a few moments. Take your time. And also, if you made it this far in the video, don't forget to scroll down, hit that like button so I know you're enjoying this video. And if you want to see more tutorials such as this one and others I will do in the future, don't forget to subscribe. Alright, I'll meet you down there in just a few moments. Okay, when you have made it to the end, you should have one more stitch. Sometimes you'll have to pull the little bars apart in order to get to that last stitch at the very, very end like this. As you can see, there's my two little bars, one here, one there. And then just finish your stitch real quick, just like that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in the back of my stitch. Okay, and I'm going to make a loop like that. Go back through that loop to make a new one. Tighten that one up a little bit, and then go back through that loop and tighten and pull down, pulling down on it. Okay, so there you go. That's how you finish that off. Then I'm just going to sew this string right into the top of the hood like this, going in between the actual stitches. Okay, and I'm going to pull it through just like this, and you're going to see it right through there. And then I'm going to go through these stitches right down here, just on the top of them, just like that. Okay, and then I'm going to pull my yarn through. And there we go. And then I'm going to grab my scissors and I am going to cut off my yarn. Make sure to put everything away. Okay, so this is what the top of your hood should actually look like. So we're going to open it up. And that is your pointy part right there. If you like the way that those stitches look and you want to show them off, then you can do that. I'm going to poke this little pointy point through, so that way my hood will come through and all my yarn is in the way. And then this is what your hood is going to look like on your cardigan. Okay, so there's the cardigan bunched up in the very, very back. And so the hood is pretty much done. I actually finished the other pocket, as you can see. So that is what the pocket looks like. And that technique I just showed you, I used that on this pocket. Okay, so at this point, your cardigan is pretty much done. If I can pull it completely out and show you. So your cardigan is nice and big. This is between a large and an extra large. Okay, so if you want a really big cardigan, this can also be an extra large to an extra large. You want a big cardigan, this is something that this is how big your cardigan will be. So I'm going to show you what it looks like so you have an idea. This portion of my desk is very small. Okay, so here we go. So there is your hood. Okay, there's your sleeve, your brown one. And then over there is your white one. My lamp is in the way. There's one pocket and there's two pockets, okay? And as you can see, if you open it, it's nice and big. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is on one of the sides, we are going to put pockets. We're gonna put buttons. So my sister, who I've known for 31 years, has requested this cardigan that's sitting on my desk. I made her a cardigan last time, and the colors blue, yellow, and brown. So we're gonna put buttons right here on this side. Now I do not have any buttons at the moment, So what I'm gonna have to do is find some buttons, and then we'll get to sewing them onto the cardigan, and the cardigan will be done. Now another thing you can do is you can also make a small border all the way around your cardigan if you so choose, and that will make these edges a little less, it'll clean up the edges a little nicer, so that way you have cleaner edges instead of these bumpy ones. But if you like them, then your cardigan is pretty much done. Just make sure to sew in all your strings so they're not hanging about. Okay, so I'm gonna go get my buttons and I will be back shortly. Okay, I am back. I finally found my buttons. I was trying to figure out where they were at. So we have a yellow button and we have a pink button. Make sure these are large buttons with your large needle, because we're going to be using yarn, and you want to make sure your yarn can go through the actual button. Now if you don't have any buttons with large eye holes, then use thread. And what I use is this denim thread. It's by Coates and Clark's, and this one is there it is, polyester and cotton. And this is really strong thread, so you cannot break it. Okay, so where are we going to put the buttons? We're going to use the yellow one first, and we are going to put it on the side of the white sleeve. And I believe that is on the right hand side. Okay, so we are going to the top of your cardigan where your hood is. Okay, so this is the top of your sleeve. And what I'm going to do is, you don't want your buttons, when you're doing this, all the way at the top, unless you're going to put a bunch of buttons like this. So you're going to skip the top portion up here where this is, and I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to go down into this portion, which was the double crochet, single crochet. I'm going to put my button right on the top. And what I'm pretty much going to do is I'm going to look at my double crochets here, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go in 4 and put my button right here. Okay, and make sure when you put your button on that your 4 holes right there are facing straight. I mean, you can have them facing this way if you want to. Either way, I like them straight. So 1, 2, 3, 4 right here. I have my thread ready, so let's do this. So now you're going to go in the back of your work, and I'm going to pull my thread through like this. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that it doesn't knot right away. So I'm going to pull it through, make sure that you have a little bit of thread left so you can tie that on. Okay, and then I'm going to go back through this hole right here. Okay, and I'm going to pull through like this. Pull slowly so it doesn't fully come through. Once you have it where you want it, flip it over, and then you're going to want to tie on your white yarn. So that way we can secure it. Okay, just like that. Now we have it nice and secured. Okay, now I'm going to go back up through like this. Okay, I'm going to go back down through. And I'm going to kind of make a square. So I'm going to go up through here, and then I'm going to go back down through there. Okay, so I pull on it a little bit so I know where I'm at. So I'm going to go up through here. If I can find the buttonhole. And then I'm going to go back down through here. Okay, and you can do this a couple of times if you want to. I am not. I'm going to go up through the top right here. I'm just going to go through these 4 times like this because this yarn is so thick, it's going to stay nice and secure. So once you have your button nice and secure, you're going to go to the back now. I know it looks kind of bunchy. And then I'm just going to go back through some stitches like this. Okay. Make that loop. I'm going to go through that spacing right there, pull through, make a new loop, tighten that loop like this, and then go back through the new loop and make sure it's nice and tight. I hear a little click, then I'm just going to go back through my stitches one more time, just like this. I like to secure it. I'm going to cut my yarn, and your button is nice and done. There you go. So that is how you sew on this button. My next button is going to go down a little bit further. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip all of the double crochet rows that you see right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to go into the next crochet row, which would be the single crochet double crochet. And again, I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to skip those 4 stitches. And then I'm going to put my button right there. And that way they'll be nice and lined up. So I'm going to sew this one, and I'll meet you back in just a minute. Alrighty, so both of the buttons are now on the cardigan. And so when you go to pull your cardigan out like this, okay, and let's say this is the other side, which it is, you're just going to find some spacings like this. Oh wow, that button is really big. There we go. Okay, so you can just find some spacings, pull apart your double crochet as best as you can, and then you can just pull your buttons right through. Something like that. And then when you're done, it'll be a lot tighter than normal. You have to pull it right back over. Just like this, okay? So the cardigan is now finished. I hope you liked this video. I hope it made your day. And on top of that, I'm sorry, you're gonna be hearing my mom in the background. Don't forget to scroll down, hit that like button so I know that you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more videos such as this one and others I will do in the future. And don't forget to watch to the end of the video because I'm going to show off this cardigan so you know exactly what it looks like. I'm going to take it outside and show you the full thing. I'm also going to do it in the very beginning of the video as well too. Alrighty, well, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. Thank you so much for viewing this video, and thank you so much for dropping by. I really appreciate and love every single one of you that have done that. And until next time, bye-bye everyone.